I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. As you guys know, I get, told you guys about these, I get inundated with these notice of zoning application notices, these postcards in my mailbox. Every week it's stuffed with these things. You know, I own a lot of properties, my own residence, and then rental investment units all over downtown Vancouver. And I also have stuff out in Richmond as well. So I'm consistently getting these. And, you know, I've told you guys, you know, every week there's 3 or 4, and depending on the neighborhood, they all come to my principal residence address here, mailbox. But, you know, over the years, I've told you guys that I've had some cases, you know, 3 and 4 of these for the same site, for the same property, because they either get, commissioned, or they make changes to it, adding floors or adding more social housing, so they send another notice. But lately, I've been telling you guys, I've got a lot of these for years and years, and then nothing happened, and then they give me another one to say that, hey, it's gone from a 220 unit strata to 300 market rental units. And that's pretty much all I've been getting lately, I can tell you guys, in my mailbox now. It's all either social housing, subsidized housing, or market rental only. And these used to be for strata years and years back, but they all slowly got canceled, and now they're building market rental. Reason for that is because nobody's buying pre-sale condos anymore. The price that these developers have to pre-sell these to deliver don't add up. They're far more than tangible product you can buy at. The locations aren't as good as what tangible product is at, and you got a whole bunch of waiting times and risk because you don't know what you're buying with pre-sale. So those are all off the table, and these developers want to build something, so hey, they've turned around and they're building market rental now. And these will be, you know, $3,000 for a small 1-bed. Now, finally, I got one here, and if you guys go on to stories.com, I always often tell you to go on there, STOREYS. They've been talking about this one for a while. So this one is a massive new development where on Georgia Street, it's actually 3 addresses, 525 West Georgia, 619 Richard Street, and 500 Dunsmuir. So this is right across from the bay where that massive parkade is there. They're going to develop that whole half block there. And this is going to be a massive development. And I want to tell you guys about this. Is going to be, if it's proposed, if it gets approved, and Stories can give you way more information on this. This has been in the news here for 4 or 5 months now. But this is going to have 2 very tall towers here, the tallest in Vancouver. So it is going to be an 85 or 87 story hotel tower with a massive rooftop deck. I think it's going to be over 1,000 hotel units, rooms. A 79-story residential strata, and a 63-unit mixed strata, and they're also going to have 273 rental units in there as well. So 3 towers total, I think 63 floors, 79, and about 87. So the 2 of these will be the tallest in Vancouver by far. Now, I'm for this. If you go on to Stories, they've got, you know, all the renderings, beautiful looking buildings. The hotel looks spectacular, again, with a 90-story rooftop with a bar and all kinds of stuff. We need this in Vancouver. I've talked to you guys about for a long time. We need to build higher here in Vancouver. A lot of times when people visit me, or I talk to people from other cities that have been to Vancouver, they always say a few things. Incredible city, beautiful city, the seawall, the mountains, the water. Love being in Vancouver. But the other thing they say to me not all the time, but a lot of times is, you know, with your expensive real estate, you've got all these buildings downtown, but they're all kind of low and mid-rise buildings, 20, 25, 30, 35 stories. You've only got a couple of buildings that are higher than that. And it's kind of what they call a tabletop skyline. And yeah, I agree. And I tell them the reason for that is because we've got this kind of archaic view corridors where we want to protect the mountain backdrop with our skyline. Now, I'm all for keeping some of these view corridors and having those mountains in the background. That's what makes Vancouver unique. Most cities don't have that kind of landscape behind the city. But, you know, I've been saying for a long time that we should be mixing in a few tall or super tall towers. 70, 80, 90-story towers to kind of punctuate or add some interest into our tabletop skyline in certain areas. So this area now they want to zone in this Richmond or Georgia Dunsmuir area to allow for these three of the tallest towers, the three tallest towers, they will be in Vancouver. And I'm for it. You know, with our expenses, we need to start building higher and build more density. And I think it will be a nice addition to our skyline. You guys let me know what you think, but it's also going to have a lot of retail, but again, a hotel complex, two other mixed residential and rental units, strata and rental. Have a look. They're beautiful looking towers. This could take a while. I don't know if this will ever get built, guys. I hope it does. It's going through the zoning applications. They usually have to revise these things many times, so that could take many years, and then another probably 7 or 8 years before for construction before it's finally completed. So perhaps in 10 years we see this being built. Now the other thing I want to point out, and you can go into stories, they'll give you more information on the real details on this. But in the same my mailbox last week, I got this notice, and I also had this one in there as well. And this is for a notice of rezoning application for 388 Abbott Street at Hastings. And this is for a 38-story social housing, brand new social housing tower. 38 stories, 378 social housing units. Now, this, of course, they say here that application has been submitted to City of Vancouver to rezone this subject site, and then it lists it's going to be 38 stories, 378 social housing. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this actual lot is owned by the City of Vancouver, but the construction on this is going to be from the developers of this luxury development here that I just told you about, the 90-story hotel and mixed residential and rental in Georgia Street. So they are paying for this. This is one of the trade-offs. Not only, of course, are they paying tens of millions of dollars to the city to rezone and redevelop that Hudson Bay Parkade, but on top of the sweetener is we're going to build you a brand new 38-story social housing tower. And I don't know how much that costs. I looked in stories and I don't know what the cost is. It's kind of all hidden, but it's gotta be what, guys? 50, 60, 70 million dollars just for that alone? I'm not sure. But the point I want to make here is it's just part of that blog I did a month ago, how the city passes. It used to be, you know, that the social housing used to come out of our property taxes and our income taxes and other areas. But now, of course, they're passing so much of this now on to developers to build homes. And of course, the end payer of this is the guy who's going to buy a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom condo in this Georgia Street development. It's all tacked into that, plus tens or perhaps hundreds of millions more in other fees that go straight to the City of Vancouver. So it's really getting crazy. They don't mention anything about it in here that, you know, it's being built by the developer, that we're going to give them air rights and rezoning for a luxury hotel and mixed use development. But that's what this is. Now, Stories had a lot more details of it. I just want to keep you guys posted on how that works now. We'll let you build a condo, but in exchange, we want you to build another 38-story tower dedicated to 378 social housing units. And I'm all for putting in more social housing units, guys. You know, I've talked about this many times, but I often say, why do we have to build this in some of the most expensive real estate in Canada, in the downtown core? Why can't we maybe build something like this for half the price, or you could build double those units? Sell this lot to a developer on Abbott Street, take that money and buy twice as much land and build twice as many homes somewhere out in Surrey on SkyTrain someplace. But I don't know. I don't know all the logistics of it, but Stories, have a look at it. There's multiple articles on this development, and then what they're going to have to do to sweeten the pot to build this social housing tower. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. See you next week.